All right, it's time for you to go in for your yearly exam, right? And you're gonna get your blood work done. So your doctor's always gonna test your lipid panel. So whenever your doctor tests your lipid panel, usually they're always gonna say, well, your heart is fine or your heart isn't good, your cholesterol is too high. So here's a little bit of information I'd like to empower you with. I want you to ask your doctor something else. I want you to ask for additional blood work whenever you go in to get your lipid numbers tested or your cholesterol numbers. So here's these additional tests that I want you to take, and this is the reason why I want you to get these tests done. So the additional tests we have here is called LPA, LPPLA2, ApoB, fasting insulin, and hemoglobin A1C. So I always like to test this with my patients. The reason that we test these tests in additional to the lipid panel is that the lipid panel here, this is going to give you that basic information of like your total cholesterol, your HDL, good cholesterol, LDL, your bad cholesterol, and your triglycerides. And a lot of medical decisions are made based off of just the lipid panel. So what I beg to differ is that we need more information. You need more information to make better decisions. LPA is an additional test that you can take. It's included with it's a simple test that can be tested from your blood work, right? You don't need to do anything extra. And what this LPA does is it gives us a little bit of an indication of possible plaque activity, right? It'll give us an idea, is there active plaque buildup happening inside of our cardiovascular system? This LPPLA2 is an inflammatory marker for inside your cardiovascular system. You can actually see, is my cardiovascular system inflamed? This inflammation in the cardiovascular system is step one for cardiovascular disease and a lot of other diseases. So if we know that there's inflammation going on, chances are there's going to be other conditions happening. This ApoB is a breakdown of that LDL cholesterol, your bad cholesterol. So if your doctor sees that your LDL numbers are high, he may want to put you on a statin. But the question we need to ask ourselves is, out of this LDL, can we get more information? And the answer is yes. This ApoB will tell us what percentage of that LDL is actually harmful. This LDL has other microparticles within it. And we can take this test of ApoB and ApoB to break down these microparticles and give us an idea of how bad really is this LDL value. So all of these tests do come back and refer back to this lipid panel. They're basically giving you more information to go off of. Information, is my heart inflamed? Is there an indication of active plaque being built up inside of my cardiovascular system? And how bad is my LDL cholesterol? Now that gives you a lot more information to make a decision about how your heart potentially looks and or if you should do additional testing. Now, two other cool tests I always do with my patients is called fasting insulin and hemoglobin A1C. Your fasting insulin is an indication of how high your insulin levels are whenever you're fasting. So insulin is released from your pancreas, and insulin is released whenever your blood sugars are too high. If you're fasting, these insulin levels should not be high, they should be low. If you're fasting and you test it and insulin levels are high, well, that's an indication you got a pre-diabetic situation happening. And that's the same thing with this hemoglobin A1C. So this hemoglobin A1C gives an indication of how high your blood sugar is whenever you're not eating. This too should also be less than 5.6. So you start to take all these pieces together. What's my diabetic risk? What's my blood sugar, which does equate to my heart disease, which does equate to triglyceride levels, which does equate to inflammation and potential risk. So if you're gonna go in here to get this guy tested for your heart, I would suggest you after this, you advocate for some additional lab work. And these are some that I would suggest.